Dan, I have to admit that I am very confused, and I think it is all because of you.
Oh my, well, I've been known to do that to people a time or two.
And I have been known to be confused in my life. But you took the cake this last weekend with your video. It confused me.
Well, that was kind of the intention of it. I went up to visit Bob Nelson at Metsa Machines, and I took a tour of the Yappa dealership there, and then something followed me home.
Yeah, so Yappa is a firewood processor company from Finland, and Metsa Machines in Wisconsin is the American importer for their machines. And Dan had once upon a time a Yappa machine that was given to him to run on his channel, but then they came and got it and took it back.
Sold it. They sold it.
And they sold it.
Yep.
I had bought a Yappa and had shown it a lot on my channel. And then my relationship developed with Bob Nelson and Metsa Machines to where I was given a live deck to show off with my machine. And then the cleaner is not mine. That's Bob's. It's just staying here until when he needs it. And then I traded my machine in for a bigger and better Yappa. So I am an influencer, and Dan is an influencer. And we both have or had Yappa firewood processors on our YouTube channels. My YouTube channel is Ohio Woodburner, and Dan's is Back 40. But Dan, that's where everything was making sense up until your video. Then the confusion started. You mind explaining this to us?
Well, and the confusion didn't start till at the very end of the video when I was pulling out of Metsa Machines' yard, and when I pulled into my wood yard, the machine that was behind my truck was not a Yappa, but it was an Eastonmade log splitter.
And Eastonmade log splitters are not made in Finland.
No.
And Metsa Machines does not import them, and nor are they a dealer. In fact, Eastonmade does not even have a dealer network. You buy directly from the factory.
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm confused.
Yeah, well, what had happened is a long time ago, I started talking with Andrew Easton, and
who is the owner of Eastonmade log splitters?
Yes, the owner of Eastonmade log splitters. And we were just talking about the possibility of one day potentially featuring one of his log splitters on my channel. So throughout the conversations we were having over the months, I said to him, what would you like to feature? Like, it's not really about, what I want, because it's more about what he would want to feature on my channel. So when the time came to when he said what it was, and I got all the specs on it, I realized that I would not be able to offload this log splitter at my house.
Too big, too heavy.
Too big, too heavy. It's shipped on a flatbed truck. So that is where I reached out to Bob Nelson, who you had mentioned how we have a great working relationship with him. And, he's always willing to help people out. And he's just all around great individual and a great, I guess, customer service oriented mindset.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
So he said, well, just have him ship it here and I will offload it for you and you can come up and pick it up. And so that's what I did.
And that was it.
Yep.
That was it. Yeah, it would help. I guess if you do buy freight, there are services. Most towns and cities have loading docks where you can have freight shipped to. You have to pay for their service for them to offload it, to fork it off, and then you would come by with your truck or whatever and take it home.
Well,
but that was nice though. You didn't have to do that. You have a person with a loading dock and a forklift that could pick that thing up.
Well, I actually did contact many loading docks in my area.
Oh, you did?
And none of them would offload it unless they were shipping it. So if unless it was one of their trucks and one of their
Uh-huh.
drivers bringing it in, they would
All right.
not they would not do that. So that is where I
Interesting.
ran into a bit of a complication. I could not find a loading dock or a shipping company with a loading dock that would offload it. Mostly
Okay.
because of liability purposes, they didn't want to be
Yeah.
unloading someone else's truck. But Bob Nelson came through, saved the
Yeah.
day.
And he certainly had a forklift that could pick that thing up then, because that thing looks heavy.
Oh, it is a beast of a machine. It is a 37D log splitter with an attached conveyor. So it's like an all-in-one package. It's this
And
log
it has a
splitter.
diesel engine. It doesn't have a little lawnmower engine on it, right?
No, this has got the Kubota D902, I believe it is, and I think it's the same engine that's on your Yappa.
Oh wow.
So
Nice.
yeah, it's a machine.
So I'm going to interview you here, Dan, because I don't know when this episode's going to come out and what other videos that you've put out about the relationship with this log splitter that you have. But to me, the elephant in the room is the maker, the make of the log splitter. It is an Eastonmade. Would you care to discuss that
The
for our
brand,
listeners?
yes.
The
The
brand.
brand is Eastonmade, and typically when you think of professional commercial grade log splitters, there's a few names that always rise to the top as far as producers of those machines. Eastonmade, Wolf Ridge, um, Timberwolf, Rugged Made. I think those are kind of like the top. Wolf Ridge and Eastonmade are pretty much the top two in my opinion.
Yeah,
And so
that's fair to say.
I I bought a Wolf Ridge log splitter 4 years ago, and that's what I'd been using on my channel ever
And
since I started it.
you bought it,
I bought it, yes.
and you even had it before you were a YouTube channel. Is that right?
That is correct. Yep, I bought that in November, and then the following year in July, I started my channel.
Okay. So you and your channel just became associated with Wolf Ridge.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the machine that I always featured, always had anytime I was splitting. That was what I was using up until 2 years ago when Bob Nelson, once again, he reached out to me and offered to bring over a Yappa 315 Firewood processor to kind of showcase and demo and make content with.
And that's a
So,
smaller processor that you could run on your land because it's powered by your tractor's PTO shaft.
yes, that was, I think, the smallest one they offer, the
Yeah.
315.
Okay.
And so up until this past week, Wolf Ridge and Yappa were the only machines I had ever really had to create content with. And like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how long ago it was. It was a long time ago. I mean, Andrew and I have been in communication with each other. We've seen each other at some of the trade shows. So, yeah, it's one of those things. We were talking about this earlier, and it's like when you are a content creator, I don't think you can necessarily be like stuck to one brand. I think you have to represent all that you are offered, and I have the opportunity to bring that to your audience. I think
Interesting.
that's the role that a content creator and the mindset they should have is what can I bring and deliver to my audience.
Yeah. So when I'm thinking of you, I am thinking of you. Okay. You make firewood and you do sell it, but I think you are first and foremost a influencer, a content creator, right? Am I speaking out of line here?
No, I prefer the term content creator over influencer. I don't know. Influencer to me kind of just seems like I'm trying to make you do something.
Yeah. It's an industry term, huh?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, if you're going to influence me, I'll quit calling you that then. Okay. Yeah, so it just seems, yeah, I don't know if this is a good analogy, but when I was used to be a huge NASCAR fan. And you'd think of Bill Elliott drove Fords, Dale Earnhardt drove Chevys, and there was always that dynamic in competition. And then you just think with brand loyalty and stuff, I don't know. When I would think of you, I think of Wolf Ridge. So it was just very interesting. And I think, though, if you think of it in that capacity, some of this probably doesn't make sense. But when you think when you consider the fact that Dan is a content creator on YouTube, I think it makes total sense.
Yeah, and I think it just again brings to my audience something different, something that yes, there's going to be those people out there that are on Team Orange and Blue, Eastonmade, and they're going to be happy, and then the people on the Wolf Ridge, contingent, they might be a little sad, but in the end, I think the other element that's kind of hidden in all this is it is kind of brings a little more entertainment to things. Like you never know what might happen next, and that's what keeps people coming back sometimes.
And I also think, too, and while it is probably not the ideal machine for your situation, it gives all of us an opportunity to see the machine work. When we are otherwise watching a normal person making firewood and working the machine with all kinds of different wood, I think every viewer can insert themselves into that situation and try to figure out, is this going to work for me? You
Yes.
know?
Yep.
And then if not for Eastonmade making this machine and putting it onto your channel and you putting it on to video, how else would we have ever seen it?
Exactly. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm probably one of the, if you take cords per year, like produced and sold, I'm way at the bottom.
Yeah.
But what people have to understand is, that I don't have production quotas to meet. So if I want to one day run one of the various wedges that came with this machine, and I'm not concerned about how much wood I'm making, I'm more concerned with showing how that wedge works with certain types of wood and creating the content for it. If that's my focus, then it doesn't matter how much firewood I make or how much firewood I sell a year. Like that is the focus is on the content being created.
And I can speak to that because when I'm running my firewood processor, I'm making product. I'm building
Right.
my inventory for my sales year. And there are different knives that I want to use and I want to experiment with. And I'm always balancing the, I don't know, me wanting to come through for my viewers and showing them variety and showing them the flexibility of the processor that I have versus being able to make the firewood that I need and being productive.
Right. And but then if you go back, like even when you first had your 365, your videos got in there and showed how things were working. They were right down by the knife. They were backed by the sawdust, exhaust. They were
Yep.
like, and that's what brings the value to the viewer. It, like without seeing that, people don't know. And that answers questions. It gives them the information they probably want to see.
I think so.
And that's where the content creating side of things comes in.
I think so. Bob Nelson had told me, this is Bob Nelson from Metza Machines, that he has sold a number of 365s. That was the machine that my old processor, that the person buying it said, I had no idea that this machine even existed, except from what I saw on Joe's YouTube channel.
Right.
Never even knew it existed. Never even heard of Yappa before. And I can't help but think that if you see this machine in a half page or a full page ad in a magazine, that it's gonna make any sense to you.
No. Right.
But man, when you see that thing working in a video in a real situation, you know, it I don't know. You feel like you can figure out how that thing's going to work for you, or if it will, if it's the right machine or if it is not, despite the price, despite what how big it is this the machine for me? And I
Yeah.
think watching it in videos, you can draw your own conclusions.
Yeah. It's a completely different world. It's if you see a 30-second ad on TV or on YouTube, wherever you see that 30-second ad, it's edited and you get the sense that they took the best parts and put that ad together. When you watch a 15-minute video, you're seeing extended periods of runtime. You're seeing how the machine actually functions and works in
I
real
agree.
world situations.
There is still, that's where it falls back upon the you or the me and what we're showing. And I think this is probably maybe a topic for another episode. We could go into this here forever about what are you actually showing, and are you sugarcoating it? Are you biased? Are you under marching orders from whoever gave you this machine? You know, I remember my first Yappa at 30 hours, which is very young in a machine's life. It blew a hose, and I just put it on. I didn't even. I don't know. Well, I think the reason though is because I bought it, and I didn't sense that this was going to like hurt anyone's feelings if I showed someone's machine break. But then when you think about it too, I mean, what the heck? It's a machine and they break. When they break, you fix them. There's not a machine out there that doesn't break.
Right, exactly.
I don't care what it is. Watch Gold Rush on the Discovery Channel and watch stuff that gets broken all the time. So, but that also, if the machine was given to me, does that changes things? And if I'm honest, I think it does. It can. I think it probably depends upon ultimately on the content creator, the person, with the camera. But I can see where Eastonmade gives you a pretty little splitter, and no, I'm not saying Eastonmade though, because I can speak from experience because I got one, And Andrew said, "There's no strings attached. I don't care what you do with this. I don't care what you show. You'll never hear me complain." And that was the marching orders from Andrew Easton. And I had that problem with the engine. The exhaust was pointing in the wrong direction, and it was getting sucked back into the carburetor. And Andrew didn't care. I mean, he
Yeah.
fixed it, but he's like, "Put it on.
Yeah.
It's a machine. This is what it's for." But I can sense though that I don't know. But there's other machines out there that I think they come with strings attached.
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you right, you're saying that an influencer is influenced before they influence.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think so. I think you can't, I think it is up to the consumer, the viewer, to draw their own conclusions or make their own inferences.
Yeah.
You know, um, I don't know. We both drive Ford trucks. We both have F-150s, and Ford, they don't know who the heck I am. And but I'm here to tell you that the Ford F-150 is an awesome truck. Period.
Agree.
And now, yeah, and now that I say that, though, I will also tell you that every F-150 on the road, their third tail light leaks water for about 15 years in a row, 15 models in a row. Their steering intermediate shaft is going to go bad. Their blend door actuator is going to go bad. The rear fender wells are going to rust out. The rocker panels are going to rust away. They all have the same problems, and I'll tell you that. And I honestly would think if Ford gave me an F-150 for a long-term drive, I would say the exact same thing. I would tell you what this truck is great at and what it is not. And that's what I've always felt, my role and the things that I show on my channel. That's my job, is to show you what they're good at and what they're not good at.
Yeah. And things like that are always going to happen. And it gets back to that whole real world experience, that what you're showing. But, do you let that, I mean, has anyone out there ever bought something and then had a slight issue and then never bought that brand again, or never, took the product back and never dealt with it again? That's what happens with stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sometimes it's strange for me because people get hung up on that whole, well, if you were given something, you are not going to be able to give an honest opinion on it. Where I
Uh-huh.
think you can. I mean, yeah, you're going to be a little biased. You might show how, you know, something is better than
You'll
other.
sugarcoat some things, huh?
Maybe, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But if I would
Yeah.
have bought it, I'd probably do the same thing. So, I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think that though that's where I think I get back to what I had said before. It falls back onto like the personality or the approach that the person making the videos do. It is just in my nature to default to polite, you know? And I have always said that if I have an item to demonstrate on my channel and it's a turkey, I will tell you, but I'm going to be polite about it. I'm
Right.
not going to be rude, and throw rocks at people and try to make myself look great by tearing someone else down. That's just not in my nature. But to others, there is this one. I told you I'm a hobbyist with solar power, solar
Yes.
panels, and lithium iron phosphate batteries. That one guy, he is like the biggest on YouTube. His name is Will Prouse, and his reviews are awesome. But I could never do the reviews the way that he does them. I mean, he just slams stuff if it's bad. He is just brutally honest about it. And I would still have gotten my point across, but I wouldn't have done it the way he did. But he's a great channel. You got to watch, even if you're not into solar. I think if you're just around someone who's passionate, you start to feel their vibe, and that's the way
Yeah.
I am when I
Yeah.
watch his channels. Yeah, he's does great. He's a great influencer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Dan, let me ask you: when you were given the 37D from Eastonmade, were you also given a list of items that you were to present, bullet points to discuss, and features of the machine that they felt that would be best to help get their product's message across?
No, no, and no. None of the above. It
I had
was
knew I knew that was going to be the answer, even though I didn't know. I just know Andrew Easton.
yep, same conversation pretty much of what you described earlier. Here's the machine, use it, show everything and create content. That's it. No bullet
Yeah,
points, no restrictions, no limitations. And there are companies out there that do that.
you better
So,
believe it.
yeah,
Yep.
but not with this, not with Andrew, not with Eastonmade.
Yeah. That's what when I heard about this opportunity, I was very excited because okay, it's awesome to get a machine like that. I mean, holy cow. But also I knew that it was going to be a great opportunity because it comes with no strings attached.
Right.
Show it, show what it can and can't do.
And I'm learning all about what it can and can't do. And that's another part of this, I guess, journey and documenting and creating the content is, it's brand new to me. I have to figure stuff out.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm going to be bringing to my videos. Just learning the whole process of how to best split wood with this type of box wedge. I mean, and that's there's a little topic right there, like this box wedge. A lot of people just think you throw any wood up there and push it through, but it's not the case. So there's things that you can show that are going to work and things that you're going to show that aren't going to work. Now
Yeah.
I'm going to do it all.
Yeah. And that was my role with the Axis, I thought, was now it was the tool ideally suited for my needs. But my needs may not be your needs. And that was a lot of the videos that I had showed was about that this is probably not the ideal machine for you if you're looking for speed, high
Yep.
production, bigger, if you're not needing smaller, precise cuts. That was if if you have neighbors, I've always said that the Axis is not a good machine if you got neighbors close to your house because it is loud and and it's not very mobile. Even though it comes on a hitch, it's not a machine that you want to be pulling around your yard. You really just want to park it and bring the wood to it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's not something you're going to just move around with your lawnmower or push by hand.
Uh-huh. But talk about, I was doing a live stream with the Axis and it broke down right in the middle of a live stream. And that was because of that exhaust deflector problem, which it took me a while to get that figured out. But I was thinking, oh my gosh, I just made Eastonmade look terrible. But what the heck, it broke down. What can I do about it? And
Yeah.
when I it was like weeks later, I spoke to Andrew. He thought it was great. He says, and and the way that they responded to it as well.
Yeah. Well, there's another situation is when you do show things that go wrong, some companies will look at it as that's bad publicity. But like what Andrew looks at it as is that gives a chance for him to show his customer service side of his
Right.
company.
Yeah. Same with like Bob Nelson. But
Yep.
I'm doing a quick mental inventory of all the things that I've had. Like with Titan attachments, I haven't really had much of their new products on my channel, but they're the same way. You call, they answer the phone. And to me, that's part of my review as well. If you're calling someone, you can't get the phone picked up, or if they won't return messages,
Yep.
that that's an action item for a video. I'm sorry, it is.
That's a big. That's yeah. That is a huge. I just to sidetrack a bit here. I was calling about something yesterday, and I called 2 times, and both times got directed to a voicemail where I couldn't leave a message. I went on their website. I used their automated chat service, which would send a text message to this place. I didn't get a reply on the text message until the next day,
Yeah.
and it was put on there like we will quickly respond to all text messages we receive.
Jeez.
Oh,
You're
anyway.
giving me flashbacks to when my dad was in the hospital. They have the patient advocacy hotline.
Oh man.
And when you're in the hospital long enough, there comes a time and a place where you got to use that number. And I called it, you know, and I get a voicemail, and they said that they will return my call within 24 hours. I'm thinking dad may not be alive in
Yeah.
24 hours, let's go. This is what the heck. You got a hotline and I got a voicemail. Oh, I let him have it over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting back to this whole part of this relationship with a content creator, I'm trying to use your term, a content creator slash influencer slash YouTube channel, a manufacturer, and the truthfulness, the accuracy of the way a product is shown on a YouTube channel. And don't you though feel pressure? I mean, Dan, what if you just think that this machine's a turkey? What if it doesn't even run? What are you going to do?
That is a very good question. I don't know. I mean,
You
I
know?
I would probably bring that to the content and say, here's
Uh-huh.
what's happening. Here's what's happening today. Um, but again, if Andrew would stand behind everything like he has for everything else, he would then use that as an opportunity to show customer service, how you can fix it, how if you were using one of his machines and something broke, what do you have to go through, how easy are things to replace. In every problem there's an opportunity for you know a solution to learn from and showcase. So
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I
All
think
right.
it's just opportunities come up. Are there problems? No, there's only opportunities.
Yeah, you're giving me flashbacks here again. I used to work for that grocery store. And where I sat right outside my door was the customer service operators. When customers at the stores would have trouble, they would call and complain to them. And it was always funny, their refrain was always, "We sincerely apologize." And I think that was code word for, stick it. It's good. Lady, you can cram this, your complaint. Anyhow, they had they had a sweepstakes, a contest, and it was for tickets to see. It was like Justin Bieber or some teeny bopper rock star. And it came with a limousine ride to the stadium,
Mm.
um, 2 seats to see the concert, and then a backstage pass to meet and shake the hand of Justin Bieber.
Wow.
Okay, so this lady and her daughter won it. Well, then Monday morning, the phone's ringing off the hook, and it's this lady, and she is furious because the seats that they got, they met Justin Bieber, they got a ride in a limo, and this is all free, but the seats were like kind of far back, and it was hard for them to get a good view of the stage. And I just always remember when that phone got hung up, the lady stands up, she goes, "We will put this one in the ungrateful file." Yeah, and that's what I'm
Oh.
thinking if you're on there, just bad mouthing this log splitter or whatever it is, and which I know is not the case, but I'm just laughing, just trying to
Yeah,
think about
and
everything that can go
that's
wrong.
yeah, and there's plenty of people out there like that, and that is just amazing. All the things that that were lined up for her, but that one, the seats were a little too far back.
And it was enough for her to call and complain.
Yeah.
Not just the grin and bear it, but the call and complain.
Wow.
Yeah. But then I was like different. I don't know. I'm a kind of customer that goes away quiet. If there's something that's bad, I just bite my tongue and then you'll just never see me again. I'm
Yeah.
probably that's the worst kind of customer though, because then you never get a chance to save the relationship.
Or learn from it and come back better than before.
Yeah, but I don't know. My previous I gloss over my 22 plus year corporate hack position, but it was a very not stressful, but it was a confrontational job. Confrontation was just the foundation that my role sat on.
Yeah.
And as I got older and stuff, it's like I just avoid it anymore. It's just not worth it to me.
Yeah.
So I just move on. So Dan, what can we expect going forward with the log splitters? Now you got 2 of them now.
Yeah. And again, here I'm already been thinking about situations where I could possibly even incorporate both of them into the same production workflow. So there's all kinds of things in store. I've got to show how this attached conveyor, the way they have this built, is very interesting, and
Yeah.
it's really cool actually. So there's opportunities for all kinds of content I'm going to be creating. And again, that's one of the, I guess, advantages from my perspective, the mindset of how can I take this machine and showcase it in different scenarios for the viewers, like for the people out there watching.
Well, that sounds exciting, Dan. I can't wait
Yeah,
to see. I can't wait to see it.
it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of, and again, it just gets back to that whole, if I had to go out every day and produce a cord of firewood, would I have the time to put in and dedicate to creating that content? Probably not. So when people look at my channel and my operation and they think, why in the world would a company give you that machine? It's because I can dedicate the time and the effort to
Right.
create the content to show what the machine really can do.
Yeah. How long do you think you'll be able to keep it?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Hopefully long enough to where I know how it fully runs and functions.
You'll call Andrew up and say, "Hey, this is out of fuel. Can you come get it, please?"
Yeah, right. I don't know what happened, but it just quit running. So come and take it off my hands. Get it out of here.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you've cleared up that confusion that I had, and I'm excited for you. I think that I've always felt that you are in a unique position in the firewood niche on YouTube, and I think this just further implants you there with the role that you're playing. I think it's awesome. I'm real happy for you.
Well, thank you. It's great to be where, to get this type of opportunity presented to me. But you had mentioned this earlier, like there also is a little pressure on me now. I feel like I got to deliver. I got to
Yeah.
step up.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. My channel, I try to like just do everything and it's nice and easy. And then when I do get a product, it causes stress because now you're on the clock. You're on
Yeah,
stage and you got to come through.
that's right. We'll
Hmm.
see. Stay tuned, everyone, and I'm sure we'll be talking about this more right here on the Woodhounds podcast. So,
There you go. Well, I would say this is maybe a good time to strike up the band, Dan,
yes.
and I'll see you again next week. I am going to be flying out to Bangor, Maine in the morning, and I'll be staying out there through the weekend for the 2023 Loggers Expo. So if you are in the Maine, New Hampshire area, come on out and see me.
Yeah.
I'll be at the Fox Forestry booth.
Stop on by and say, have a great day.
Yeah, bring me a Dr. Pepper. Or an Eastonmade log splitter, whichever.
Well, I was going to say there might be some interesting things out there you might get to see and
Well,
kind of.
I am on the prowl. I have some
Ooh,
specific things that I'm looking for. You better believe it.
nice.
You better believe it.
Well, I look forward to hearing about your trip and the show next week.
Okay.
We'll maybe
All
talk
right.
about that right here on the number one firewood podcast in the world, the
Yeah,
Woodhounds.
that's right. Yeah, so we want to thank everyone for dialing in, listening to us on your favorite streaming service. And thank you for helping us become the number one firewood podcast in the world.
That is right. So, Joe, let's head on out of here.
I like the way you think.
Yes.
All right. Everyone stay
Cool.
and try to be.
Fun.
And while you're having fun, have a
Great day.